Hi TuneGate, my name's James Walker Hall. I'm here in Japan representing New Sonic Arts. I'd like to take a few moments to introduce you to our software, talk about some of the ideas and concepts behind our software. Okay, so yeah, I think New Sonic Arts is really began as a project really about what I like to call next generation instruments and next generation design, which is really about looking forward rather than emulation of the past. I think the main thing which we're trying to achieve at New Sonic Arts is really what I like to call like next generation design. So I think lots of the companies within the industry today, obviously there's a large amount of companies making like an approach of emulation of old hardware, hosts which are emulation of a traditional multi-track recording studio and so forth. And basically what I wanted to do from the very beginning was just look at how can we use the power of the computer, forget about everything in the past, and use this to make the most effective tools for modern producers. So it's really about looking forward, looking at how we can use and maximize the power of the computer and about maximizing users' workflow in a modern context. So today in our product portfolio we have 3 different sampler products, and the approach we've taken is each product is quite focused on a particular use case. So each product is quite specific and compact. And we also have a host environment software, which is a host for VSTs, but has like special integration with our own plugins as well. So I can give you a brief introduction to each product. So as I said, like the products all run as VST and AU. You can use them inside any host of your choice, but I'm going to show them today inside Freestyle, our own host, so you can see some of the additional integration features. So starting with Granite. Granite is a granular synthesizer which is really specialized in making kind of atmospheric sounds and background sounds, kind of textures. Basically you can drop in any sample and transform the sound dramatically. So this is the original sample here, and then you can hear the transformed sound, and you can adjust the speed. And you can play it as a regular instrument. And I think one of the really interesting things about Granite is the way that you can record movements. So you can build like kind of evolving sounds really quickly. So for example, I can just record a motion here, and that's now going to repeat. And you can do this for most parameters. And then very quickly you have like a very sort of evolving kind of organic sound. You can even change the sample position as well. So it's a lot of fun just to experiment with, drop in any sample and you'll quickly come up with a new sound. So let's oops. And it's, like I say, with all our instruments, it's really very compact interface. I like to think you don't need a manual, you can just really get in there, experiment and learn how to use it. It's just these kind of four pages of controls here. And with all our instruments, it has a kind of a smooth interface. You have very smooth navigation of the waveform. Presets are loading very, very quickly, something we've taken care of in our core sound engine. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think that's Granite. All right, so next let's take a look at Nuance here, which is our kind of, it's like a standard sampler, really, that's the idea. So we wanted something which can be used as like your bread and butter sampler when you need to just drop in a sample, get it on your keyboard. I mean, here I have a simple music box sound. There's some, really powerful samplers today available on the market, but they tend to be very complicated with a lot of features. And Nuance also has quite a lot of features, but we wanted to get something with a kind of a better balance for if you're working with your own samples. So Nuance is not about really working with large sample libraries. It's really about, you have your own samples, you want to quickly just play them basically. So in Nuance you have you've got this effects section. You have modulators, 2 envelopes, 2 LFOs, which are shapeable. And then you have a pretty flexible modulation section, so I can assign this envelope to pitch. Nuance also has like a kind of drum mode, so you can use it as a drum sampler. I just have one of the standard kits here. And each pad you can add as many samples per layer as you want. So for example, I want to layer up this kick drum, layer up this snare, and if you want to get deeper, then there's also a full-blown mapping editor, so you can actually build quite rich instruments as well. But as with Granite, we really have like the aim is to have like a compact interface. So here you can, in one page, you've kind of got all your main controls. Yeah, I think that's really Nuance in a nutshell. Our third plugin which we developed is a loop slicer, loop player / loop slicer called Vice. So we really decided to make a separate plugin here rather than integrate this into Nuance, because it's kind of a different use case, and we really wanted to have a very smooth and quick way of working with loops. So basically with Vice, of course there's a bunch of built-in supplied loops here, and as soon as you drop in a sample, then it will be sliced automatically. So I can then play it on my keyboard. You can also play the loop in sync with your here with Freestyle, but also with any DAW. You can just automatically play it in sync, so you don't have to play it with MIDI. But of course, if you play it with MIDI, then you can change the loop, free to rearrange the slices. And then each slice has a whole bunch of parameters. So for example, I can put an effect on this kick here. And then a different effect and you can also just edit all slices together, so I can put an effect on everything. And you have some kind of modulation options per slice as well. You have an amplitude envelope, which I can apply to this slice here. You have modulation envelope and an LFO, and you can route these to the different effects. You can then, each slice can go to a different output, and you've got different slice modes. So for example, this is the detection mode, but you can also split equally. And of course you can manually edit the slices, so I can zoom right in here and change this slice, or just create new slices. And this also has snap to zero crossings, so you can avoid clicks. And there's some additional options for exporting. You can drag out as a MIDI loop. You can export individual slices as audio. And some fine details and features. Oops. Okay. I think basically that's Vice summarized. So now I'd like to show you Freestyle, which is our host environment, which runs as a standalone, as I am here, but you can also use it as an effect or an instrument inside any host. It also runs as a VST plugin and or as an audio unit plugin. And what Freestyle is really about is an environment to kind of work with your existing plugin collection and allow you to kind of get more creative with all your plugins in a way which a traditional DAW can't achieve, because Freestyle is not limited to tracks and buses, etc. It has a more open concept. So when you first install Freestyle, all of your VSTs will appear here, organized sort of in one handy place, and then you can, for example, search for plugins by name or company name, and you've got your instruments and effects. You can also choose certain plugins which you use all the time, for example this one, and this one, and then just find them quickly as favorites. So that's kind of one advantage, is really a visual way to organize all your plugins. And then what you can do is, let's take Nuance here. So here we have a simple sound. We can start to layer up different sounds just by dragging in different instruments. Let's put like a chorus here. And the idea really with Freestyle is it's in a way it's kind of intelligent. It automatically connects things in a way which you would normally want based on the way that you drag and drop things. So for example, if I just drop in another filter, it's going to add it to the end of the chain here. But you can also then, of course, change the way things are connected. Let's just adjust it. So you have here this kind of easy view. Let's try something else. Maybe put some reverb on everything. But then the kind of when you want to get really deeper and do some more complicated patching, you have this second view where you can actually then visually see how everything's connected, and then you can do more advanced connections. For example, you can change this to a different kind of module. You can switch here to the crossfader. I can now blend between different sounds. You can do multi-band processing, for example, add in here oops. We have a band splitting module, so you can then separate into multiple frequency bands and so forth. So in this view you can really get more kind of extensively creative. And then lastly, well, basically there's a lot to show you, and I don't have so much time here. I think you really need to dig into it for yourself, but we then have this snapshot feature. So once you've built a kind of patch, you can then let's replace this one. You can then create different snapshots which you can then use, for example, in a live context for your different patches. And lastly, maybe just very quickly show you, we have these macro controls, so you can also build your own kind of control surface, for example, which you may want to map to these controls here. You can map these to all the parameters you want to use in a particular, for example, your live performance. Yeah, it's a lot to show you, but I think that's the main features. Yeah, so we're very excited to introduce our plugins here and our products to the Japanese market. I would invite you all to please take a look, please try the demo and see what you think. We will soon be available through the BeatCloud store, and yeah, try our products, and I hope you enjoy our software. Thank you.